Seatbelts weren't always cool, just ask your grandpa. On Fact Channels, we're tracing the wild ride of car safety features, from clunky beginnings to tech that saves lives without you even noticing. Ever wondered how crumple zones and airbags changed more than just crash test dummies' fortunes? Buckle up, your commute might feel different after this journey through automotive evolution. In the early days of the automobile, safety wasn't even an afterthought. Imagine driving a 1901 Oldsmobile. No seatbelts, no windshield, barely any brakes. The thrill of progress outweighed the idea of protection. Passengers took their chances, and the dangers were as accepted as the rattle of the engine. Few realized that one of the first car safety features was, bizarrely, a simple dimpled horn button. Designed not only for honking at pedestrians, but to prevent sharp metal edges from cutting fingers in a crash. An accidental step towards safer design from an age obsessed with aesthetics over survival. Picture Detroit in the 1930s, where car designers met behind closed doors, fiercely debating whether safety would sell. The chilling consensus? Safety doesn't sell cars. They made sleek death traps, until one man, Bella Bereni, began sketching a car with a crumple zone years before Mercedes-Benz brought his invention to life. It would be decades before competitors recognized its life-saving genius. Not all inspiration comes from tragedy, but sometimes it takes disaster to make change. The 1955 Le Mans catastrophe killed more than 80 spectators when a race car's unrestrained components sliced through the crowd. Automakers couldn't ignore the headlines, and the world began to demand innovation or accountability. You might assume airbags are a modern miracle, but here's the twist. Engineer John Hetrick patented an inflatable safety cushion in 1952 after nearly crashing his family's Chrysler into a boulder. His sketches collected dust for decades. Only when computer-controlled sensors arrived in the 1970s did automakers finally see the light. Consider this: seatbelts were once optional upgrades akin to fancy white-wall tires. Sweden led a quiet revolution in 1959 with Volvo's three-point belt designed by Nils Bohlin. Rather than patenting it for profit, Volvo released the design to all manufacturers, sending shockwaves through an industry built on secrecy. The notion of survivable speed changed everything. In the 1960s, General Motors dared to install crash test dummies named Sierra Sam, who went through unspeakable abuse, all for science. Early tests revealed that dashboards acted like battering rams and steering columns like spears. Engineers scrambled to redesign cars from the inside out. Sometimes law moves faster than technology. Ralph Nader's explosive book Unsafe at Any Speed exposed how flashy design could kill. Congress responded with relentless hearings and, in 1966, the creation of America's first mandatory safety standards, forcing reluctant manufacturers into an unprecedented era of scrutiny and improvement. Shattering windshields once left drivers gravely wounded by razor-sharp glass shards. It took decades to perfect laminated safety glass, a sandwich of plastic between two glass layers that holds together on impact. This almost invisible upgrade quietly saved thousands, beginning in the shadows of World War II rationing. Few inventions have such haunting origin stories as anti-lock braking systems, ABS. Inspired by failures in aircraft landing gear during rain-soaked landings, engineers adapted hydraulic pulsing systems for cars in the late 1970s. The result: sudden stops without skidding, a lifeline for drivers caught between panic and peril. Imagine driving at night before high-mounted brake lights existed. For most of automotive history, rear-end collisions in fog were chillingly common because brake lights sat low and often went unnoticed. In 1986, psychologists proved that a simple third brake light placed high in rear windows slashed crashes by over 50%, a triumph born from behavioral science rather than engineering. Whiplash is more than just a minor ache. It can disable lives for years. In Sweden's icy winters, insurers began data mining crash records, revealing subtle patterns in how seats collapse during rear-end impacts. The finding led to active head restraints, unassuming mechanisms now triggered by milliseconds of force that cradle heads before necks can snap back. The most audacious testing ground for safety is arguably Formula One racing, where split-second disasters forge new inventions every season. After drivers survived multiple fiery wrecks courtesy of wearable fireproof suits and titanium roll cages, luxury automakers rushed to borrow those battle-proven solutions for everyday vehicles. Today's cars act like silent sentinels. Hidden radar beams scan blind spots, and gyroscopes stand ready to correct skids before your reflexes even signal danger. Not widely known is that these dazzling features were pioneered not just by engineers, but by teams of mathematicians who simulated millions of virtual crashes long before any metal was bent or welded. If you enjoyed these awesome facts, give us a like and hit subscribe for more fun discoveries on Fact Channels.